Hi guys, it's Zara Fagan. I am the author of Minimalist Homeschooling and creator of the Simple is the New Smart membership. And I'm here today to talk to you about how to plan history simply. So this is one of those subjects that a lot of people can get overwhelmed because there are so many resources available. There are definitely these amazing all-in-one resources, and you are welcome to use those. These are for the people who have not found an all-in-one that they like, or maybe it's just too much and they really want to simplify. So first of all, you can absolutely teach history in a way that is child-led, especially in the younger years. If there's a topic you want to study, go ahead and study it. And the best way to do this is to brain dump a list of options onto a piece of paper and choose one that you want to study. So you can say Pilgrims, you can say American Revolution, you can say world history, you can say modern history, ancient history, whatever it is, and then you sort of pick and choose what you want to teach your children. As your kids get older, though, you may want to have something more formal. And there are a few ways to do this. So the first question I would ask you is, for your sort of core history, do you want to use a spine book, or do you want like a spine, like a book or a memory work list, or do you want to use a book list, right? So there are two different ways to do this. We can just get a book list. This is sort of this Charlotte Mason sort of way, right? Where you choose a time period in history and you'd read great historical fiction or primary sources from that time period, and you would use basically a source book list as your core history. Or you can use a single textbook. So if you choose a single textbook, then you're going to want to either choose memory work. So that comes in a few different classical models. There's obviously classical conversations. There's Catholic Schoolhouse. There are a few other classical models where they will lay out memory work for you in the grammar stages and walk you through history then through middle school and high school as well, through rhetoric and dialectic stages as well. So you can either use memory work or you can use a spine. A lot of people use the Story of the World. This comes in a 4-part book series. So you will have to buy 4 if you want to cover all of history. This is considered secular/Protestant, as in it doesn't cover prehistory. It's going to start with ancient history. Okay? And I'm showing you both. The benefit of this is it comes on audiobook, right? So you can get the audiobooks. It's not cheap, but you can get them. And that takes a lot of pressure off the mom or the teacher, right? Whoever the educator is. It also comes with a hefty activity book. I'm showing you this as an example. It has maps, it has activities, it has like coloring, it has all the things, okay? So you can get this. I would suggest that you pick and choose and don't do all the things if you're going to keep it simple, okay? But it exists, okay? I don't actually use this. I have this to show you. It doesn't work for me. It's way too overwhelming. Okay, the other option is there is a secular/Catholic option, The World Story by Elizabeth O'Neill. This is what I use. This is all of history in one textbook. So I take 3 years to read this 366-page textbook with my children. That comes to about 4 pages a day, or not a day, I'm sorry, 4 pages a week to get through this. And this starts with prehistory. So this starts with Old Earth theory, for example. It mentions evolution, and it's going to start with lake dwellers and those sorts of things, which is why I say it's Protestant or it's Catholic or secular, okay, because it will touch on those things that I know are contradictory to some of the Protestant worldview. The Story of the World, however, is definitely more Protestant when it gets to the Reformation and how it discusses the Reformation. So I'm just throwing that out there in case you have a preference one way or another. So once you have your spine, a book list, a core text, or memory work, you have to choose one of those 3. Right? To keep it simple, choose one of those 3 and then decide what treats you're going to add to it. So there are a lot of options for how we then expand on our history. So the idea here is you have a very foundational approach and then you add in all the extras. And so I already mentioned it's great to have a list of things that you could possibly do with your history, right? So brain dump all those great ideas you have about field trips, activities, projects, and those sorts of things in advance, and do them as you're able. Of course, you can get that beautiful activities book that I showed you that goes with the story of the world if you want more structure. You can also start a Pinterest board for your history and just go pull from that when you have the inspiration to sort of add something to your history. However, if you're focusing on giving them a foundation and keeping that simple, then that's great. Then your kids are getting a foundation. The other thing I love to add on, especially for my older children, is historical fiction. So you can do this as read alouds for any of your children, but you can also, as they get older, assign them historical fiction that goes along with the time period that you're studying, right? So a lot of times for the sort of classical model, we're in a 3-year cycle: ancient history, Renaissance and Middle Ages approximately, to modern history. Okay, so sorry. So then you add on to it. I also have a geography and world atlas that I reference as needed. Again, I use this for all my kids for all the years. I don't have to buy things separately. The books that I showed you, I use from about 2nd or 3rd grade through 5th or 6th grade. Then I move on to a more comprehensive history textbook for my older kids. I can tell you about that, and if you have comments about it, I can put it in the comments below. Just ask me. So the other thing that you can add on, in addition to historical fiction, in addition to all the activities that you see on Pinterest, is you can add biographies to your studies. And so this can be really great to get a good idea of what was going on during that time period, to study the life of 1 or 2 key historical figures. So there you have it. Choose one way to give your core to your children, then add on the treats. For older children, you can also add on a presentation / project and or a report, like a book report for your kids to do for history. Got it? I have a blog about this, and I also am going to include links with a blog and a video for batching. All right, so Kate Baker already commented she wants to know what I use for older kiddos. So I'm Catholic, so I'm using a Catholic textbook. And again, it comes in a 3-year set. And so I use a Catholic textbook, and I do get the quizzes and the tests starting in 6th or 7th grade. And what I do is I feel like my children are most likely going to go to college. I know that at least for my first is definitely wants to go to college. So I do think that test prep is an important component of it. So I have Light of the Nations is the history that I use, and it does span middle school and high school. And the teacher's manual gives you ideas for how to extend it for older ages. So we do it at a more sort of rudimentary level first, and we can go through it twice, right? Because I'm starting in 6th or 7th grade. So we go through it twice, and the second time around we get more in depth. So it's a similar idea to what I'm doing with my elementary school kids, right? Because every 3 years we're covering all of history. So we keep going through it, and we just do it a little bit more in depth as they get older. And usually that means more projects, reports, presentations, and or historical fiction books that I'm adding on as they get older. Junior high and high school, it's more primary sources that I'm adding on for them to read in addition to their textbook. So I hope that helps. And then I would just say, to keep it simple, guys, you've got to keep the field trips and all the treats and all the activities and things to a minimum. So I am going to link to a blog and a video about batching, so that all of those fun things you want to do, you can get done without driving yourself crazy every week of the whole year. Okay? So I am wishing you all the simple things, and I will see you again soon. Bye, guys.